they leave. It's almost you want them to leave to go to a primary school where you can kind of track them and see that they are doing okay.
I agree.
Welcome to Fika's Focus. Voices leading change.
Kia ora everyone, we are back here with Tarrin. Kia ora Tarrin.
Hi,
Koe
kia ora.
Koe mora.
Koe mora, kia ora.
Yeah. It's good to see you. Happy New Year.
Yes, you too.
And you had a good break.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing break. Thank you. And you guys?
Yeah. We're really excited for the new year. It's awesome. we're really excited. But today we're talking about relationships, quality relationships, and what that looks like, especially in our space working with our little people. But we were just talking before we went live. We were talking about a particular child where we really value and appreciate the relationship that we had with him.
Yes.
It taught us a lot.
A lot. I think everybody that was involved in that process, I think everybody can turn around and say that they've grown from that. Absolutely.
And we went through so much.
Area,
We went through so much, joy, happiness, frustration, confusion, and even there's points where you start to question, am I doing the right thing?
Absolutely.
But
definitely worth it in the end. And I feel that also just sort of boils down to having a good relationship really at the end of the day with the mum, the dad, and of course the child as well. And also them with us.
Yes.
You were very involved in the process. Rose was also very, very involved. All the teachers, the different kayakos from the time that he had started at Future Focus until the time that he left. And I feel that we can feel very proud. I really feel that we can feel very proud of how we have achieved that outcome. And I'm sure that the parents feel that way as well.
What are some of the signs or hallmarks of a quality relationship for you, Tarrin?
Definitely taking time out with a parent. It's not just a quick chat. I have found that it takes time to build a good relationship with any person. At the end of it's like reading a book. If you judge a book by its cover, and to get to the nitty gritty, you need to open that book. And that's what relationships is. It's not just surface level. It's not just looking at that person, hey, how are you? It's getting deep into those relationships and taking time. And speaking to those families. There's so many broken families out there. And my heart is to just build relationships with those people. Single mums, single dads. I've got a very, very soft spot for single parenting. I think that also just sort of stems from my sister being a single mum. And I just love taking those people under my wing and just building those relationships and digging deep. It's not just surface level there. It's really digging deep and finding out and hearing people's challenges at the end of the day, that what they're going through. I think a lot of people have got a lot of hardships and people just don't give one another the time of the day.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's the beauty of our sector is we open the door for people to come in and be part of a community that allows them to be heard, and it gives us a good shot at making deliberate impact on their struggle. But also we get to really celebrate what's going on as well.
Yes, 100%. I definitely agree there with you. There's heaps of families that you just sort of grow with. Good times, bad times, and to just see them leaving Future Focus, leaving on a good note, that makes me very happy.
Yeah, the farewell was quite hard in the fact that it was like an end of an era, and I got to experience quite a bit of that. Like, personally, I got to experience a bit of that last year because we had our real first cohort of kids who'd started with us as babies and are moving on. And I've just been down Papamore Beach, and there's a couple of kids in that group as well about to start in that space. But the quality of the relationship is measured by them just being with us that whole time. You know, and we've got a lot of children. Like, you think about your space at the moment, the Ngāhi space. There's children that started as babies, like, you know, little babies, and now they're in your space. Like, we've just had one start there now, and I just walked in there. She's just in her own element, playing, and I remember her being a little baby in here.
And I often actually say to those parents that I'm in such shock of how they've grown and how they've developed in that time. And it's just unbelievable. It's just so wonderful for them to come in when, you know, they're not even walking.
No.
They're not walking. They're little babies in your arms to children of having sort of conversations, full on amazing conversations there, and the development there is just phenomenal in all areas. In all areas, you just sit and observe. You know, I was listening to Shay's podcast as well, like sitting, observing, and that is also just so vital to do as well, that you can just see how they've developed in those areas instead of teachers just intervening there all the time. And it's like an aha moment, like, wow, I didn't realize they could actually do that. And again, that's what I'm saying, the progress where it comes from being babies right up until the time that they leave for primary school is just phenomenal. And our hearts get very, very sad when children leave. And we know that there's a new journey for those children. People move overseas, or people move different places. And it's very heart-sore when you've built those relationships with parents and the whānau and children especially, and they leave. It's almost, you want them to leave to go to a primary school where you can kind of track them and see that they are doing okay.
I agree.
Because I feel like it doesn't just stay here at ECE. You know, we often think about those children that move on to primary school. How are they doing? Have they made friends? How are they connecting there with the other kayakos there? How are their parents doing? And it is. It's the relationship doesn't stop there. I often will then just send those parents a text saying, hey, thinking about you, how's it going? Just know if you need anything, I am here. And again, it's those relationships that will carry on right up until the years to come when you see them in the shopping centres.
And that quality of relationship also teaches them what to expect from great relationships.
Yes.
Now, they might not, even as babies, this is what people underestimate about our youngest children. They do know love, care, respect.
Absolutely.
At that young age.
Absolutely.
They know it. You know, it's a feeling. And when I see, you know, in particular when working, it's like Jaswinda, it's like yourself, you know, it's seeing Lindy down with the team, it's, you know, Michelle being creative for people, and, you know, even Lorna with the food and the care and that goes into that, you know, I've just seen that, and you just see it in a snapshot. Yeah. And it actually reflects in how the room's running and going. It's just the quality of relationships.
Absolutely. Like I've always said, we've got the dream team.
Yeah, you guys, you know, you look at people
team.
like your room, Lindy, Maddie, Michelle, and obviously yourself, then Lorna as well in there. You know, it's just, you can sense it, you can feel it. And coming into the new year, though, it's like nothing's even skipped the beat. No.
Even coming back yesterday, people are like, oh, how was your first day? And I was like, amazing. And people are like, oh, well, you know, it would be nice to obviously be on holiday and I'm like, yeah, it is great. But when you've got a good place to come back to, like that also makes the heart happy.
Yeah. Yes.
And it makes the year just sort of happy to just go into the new year really with your team, with the children there at the end of the day, and
It's exciting.
It is.
Exciting
A
because
new
you
year.
guys. So when it comes back to, let's talk through that again. That term, quality relationship, and you were talking about the currency of time. It's so funny because actually, what we want to do is put as much time into people, but also time seems to go really fast, right? So it's a almost paradoxical in the fact that you feel like it's got to take slow, large amounts of time, but then boom, then they're two,
quick.
and then
Yeah.
boom, then they're four, then
Yeah.
boom, they're off to school. Like we're celebrating today 5 years of actually starting.
Oh, wow.
Today, Britt reminded us. Britt was one of our original team, and
You probably also
5
just
years, man.
thinking,
Yeah.
like,
Gone that,
and
like that.
what you've created and what's been done in those 5 years.
Yes.
But I'm also sure thinking, like, in the back of your head, like, it's also been a process.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's definitely like a season, you know,
Yes.
heaps of different seasons in people's lives.
Yes.
That just
yes.
come and go.
So the speed of time, what we're talking about, and that it happens so quick. How do we stay aware that time actually happens very quick when it comes to building relationships? How do we really stay aware of that?
For me, I think it's just being present in that
Yes, I
moment,
love
in that moment with people, and really just taking in. It's not, and I also have to sometimes, I know I'm also often rushing, you know, that is me my whole life. I'm just rushing all the time. And it's definitely something that I want to also just take back this year and be like, hey, you know, let's talk, let's chat, not just be like, hey, how are you? Did you have a good weekend? And then just sort of carry on with it. It is definitely taking time and really engaging in those conversations with people, with children. And I honestly feel that is how you're going to appreciate and know that you have made that 1 minute or those 5 minutes or the 10 minutes, that you've made the best of your time there.
Yes.
That it really is just being engaged and trying to block out things around you. I know it's not always easier said than done, but definitely just taking time back and realizing that, you can miss that opportunity in that moment.
So being present, I love
Yeah.
that. I really love that. That resonates with me. So what does being present mean to you?
Just taking time,
Yep.
not rushing.
See, 1 minute sounds
Not
quick,
rushing.
right?
Yeah.
But you can really make some impact
Yes.
in 1 minute.
Absolutely. You can either make or break that conversation.
Yes. Thank you.
In that minute.
Yes, thank you.
Can.
That's
It
actually
can
a
be
great
like,
point.
hey, hi, da-da. Or
Brush
you can
you
really
off,
just
yeah.
be like, cool, let's talk.
Yes.
You know, just seeing a parent in that moment that they're having a hard time. Hey, I know we're very busy at the moment. Can we come have a quick cup of coffee? I can see you not doing okay. Let's just have a chat. And just taking those 5 minutes, we've had parents sit here crying out for help. And just that cup of coffee in those 5 minutes, you can just see it's like a weight lifted off of their shoulders.
And that's all it takes.
Absolutely. Just
All it
being
takes.
open and available.
That's all. And I think you're an expert in that space because being present is actually very difficult in our fast
Yes.
world. The devices and you know, trying to get
Life.
to somewhere and things like that, when the reality is the real power is actually being present.
Yeah.
It is living in the present. It is being
the moment.
In the moment. You know, I know last year I really made a commitment to trying not to film everything on my phone. Like, you know, even this
Yes.
morning I was with Marlo at the early this morning at 6 o'clock this morning. We're at the scooter park because Marlo wants to do it without people.
Everyone there.
So
I
she's
should join you,
practicing,
it's
right?
Anna.
Yeah. So she's trying to practice at that time, and I actually made a point to not be on my
Yes.
phone. I just
Yes.
watched her, and it was so cool watching her try and fall
Yeah.
off and try. But actually, that skill, I think that's where we've had so much success. As we've got leaders who are present when talking to their people. In the majority, I know we all
Yes.
slip.
Yep.
And then we have teachers who are very present. I've just walked into both rooms and I've just seen lots, like I've just seen Jasmine with a puppet with, yeah, well, what's her name? But with, just with a group of kids, but one in particular is just like up there, like so animated.
Aww.
She's like making sounds and things, and
amazing.
then it's just it's present.
Yeah,
because that's the currency of babies, right? They want attention.
Absolutely.
That's the currency of little children. They're fighting for attention.
Yeah.
They want, and when you can give them 1 minute of it. Yeah.
And then I've seen as well, even just in doing a nappy change.
Yes.
Not sitting, you're standing, but you're engaged in that nappy change.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of, okay, let's change, off you go.
Yes.
For myself, I make an effort to talk to those children in that present time. Hey, how was your holiday? What did you do? Tell me. And, your quieter children, that you've got that relationship, just all of a sudden, I had a little boy telling me yesterday that he had his brother's birthday, and he was just so excited. And it really is like a special time that we have, even changing nappies.
Yes.
And it's just even finding the simplest thing in the day to create those relationships with children. And you can see it, when you've got like a key teacher where the children run up to that child and they only want that child, or it really is wonderful. It is such a wonderful thing to feel sort of within your heart that, yes, that child is looking for you. They want you. And that's where the relationships are built from that.
I'm really proud to hear you bring that up, because I know some people look at that scenario as being like, oh, changing nappies, but really is one-on-one time.
Yes,
it is such
absolutely.
a powerful. I know Rosie really talks to that point too, but it's just such a powerful time of connection.
Is. Absolutely.
And like
2
you said,
to 3 minutes, but good quality time. And you can hear and learn and know a lot about a child in that moment there.
And they will talk. You're right, your little ones, the quiet ones, they will talk.
They will, because it's also just the two of you. There's no interaction there with other children.
That's such a great point, and I think that's where part of the goal is always around trying to build those moments as often as we can, whether it's sitting down at the sandpit, just talk. I just love listening to kids talk.
Yeah.
They just yarn away. They just want an ear.
And even with Shay's podcast that I heard as well, we also so often wanting to just get involved.
Yes.
When you actually just need to sit back and listen. You can learn a lot from children then. You can take in a lot. And there's also then learning their interests through that time of play. How they talk to their friends. How you can interact. And the children that are also a lot quieter. It's also a good time to also sort of engage there with them and getting so-and-so to try and help them. Also often we just jump and we just want to help them and get involved there. But I love, for example, using the older children, Ezra, like she is amazing. Ezra, hey, do you mind helping so-and-so?
Yes.
No problem. And you just see how that empowerment comes from that child helping the younger children.
Yes.
And again, that's relationships being built there from the younger kids to the older children, and then from the children to the kayako as well.
Yes.
And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing to see, the sense of achievement for the older children as well, of how they can also then help the younger ones.
Yeah, it's cyclical, right? It just the benefits become. You're right. When you explain it like that, it just becomes cyclical, and everyone experiences joy and success in that space. And what is such a simple request?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it is, I think, the quality of a relationship is determined by by the joy that people take from interacting with one another. And we all know, like with our family, you know, like I know you talk about obviously your Tanner being, you know, in that space. Obviously, it's with me and my kids and Courtney and I's children. Sorry, and Courtney and those, but it is other people. Just it's the joy you get from being around people.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the beauty of our sector, or in education. We never know who walks through the doors, but we do have a chance to build relationships with people and just say, hey, I'm here, I'm available, I'm present.
Absolutely.
And just bring some value to them every single day.
And I think also following through with that, because I feel that it's also very easy to just be like, hey, I'm available.
And they're not.
And you see them coming in crying because they've had a hard morning or they're just not sure about something, and you just sort of brush it off. You know, like I've said to you, I honestly feel like my purpose is to serve people, and that's how you serve, by following through with that and going above and beyond. It doesn't just stop here.
No.
It doesn't just stop here at ECE. That's what I'm saying. When you at the shops, you've got those relationships. Hey, you're talking there. Those children's faces, like you were saying also, you know, with Jazz Winder, with one of the children with the puppets, when those littlies, you go into the shop and they recognize you. They might not be able to talk, but their face is just lifted up. It's lit up. They're so bright. You know that you have then impacted that child in a way.
Well, it's my heart skipped because at Pat Beach this morning I was out in the playground, but on the big kids side, and I look over and there's a little baby. He's now walking, but when he started with us, he was little, and he was pointing at me. And I didn't know if he was pointing at me, but he was pointing, and then I saw Chrissy down there acknowledge and then point back at me, and I recognise he's pointing at me, and it is, and I think, I mean, he's not even talking really, but it's just, and I haven't seen him for be nearly a month since he's been off.
And how did that make you feel?
Yeah, it's in your heart. It really warms you. It means that you've made a quality relationship and impact, and that's not even through words. That's just through warmth, action, cuddles, going in.
You're very good with that, though.
Yeah,
you
thank
really,
you. But it was
like
nice
that,
to see this little body across the playground pointing like this and smiling, and then and I didn't know if it was me and Chrissy looking at him and then pointing at me. Yeah, it was actually really really nice, and I think that is the beauty of this role is. We will have long-term effects on children, and it really does. I think ultimately come down to the quality of each relationship.
And you know, also just saying that, I just think now Tanner being 7 years old, you know, he remembers his teachers from South Africa, and he'll be like just a perfect example. Our nanny. When I say nanny, I don't mean like a grandparent in South Africa. That means something else. It's our domestic cleaner that we had. And she sent us a beautiful message on WhatsApp at 11 o'clock on Old Year's Eve to say Happy New Year. My boy just burst out crying. Patrick and I looked at each other and we're like, I mean, we haven't spoken to her in 2 years, but that is a perfect prime example there of having relationships that you think that kids just forget. I mean, 2 years he hasn't heard from her, and he just heard that and just burst out crying because he obviously missed her, and he remembered the warmth and the love that she had given him.
That's cool.
You know, over the years. And it's we often leave the sector maybe thinking that they do forget about us, but they don't. Parents don't.
You don't forget love, care, warmth.
No.
You don't. You might forget what you did with Play-Doh or what toys you played with, but you won't forget love, care, you know, honesty, integrity. You just won't respect. You just won't forget it, and
100%.
And that's what excites me about what you and your teams do, and because those stories you tell of Tanner, those are the stories we want
Yes.
kids to know and remember.
Yes. And they will.
Yes.
Because they've had those relationships there with those teachers. And the parents have made the effort as well to also engage in those relationships. I mean, I've also made great friends in the sector, like being here at Future Focus
Yes.
with parents that
Yeah.
have become like family to me.
Yes.
I know that they can phone me and I will drop whatever I'm doing to go and be
help and
there.
be part of that
because
relationship.
it's that relationship.
Yeah.
It's something that we've built and we've created over time. And it's just,
And we never want to take it for granted.
no.
You know?
Absolutely not.
I think,
because time can just get taken away
it
like
can be
this.
taken
Life
away.
can be taken
Yep,
away like
life
this.
can be taken
Yeah.
away, and it's just being part of a child's upbringing is of great privilege for us. And I'm really thankful that you're part of our team in that space, Tarrin. I know that there are many kids out there that are very lucky to have you in their life, and we're really grateful to have such high quality in that space, because we know the currency that we really want to deal in is relationships. And yeah, you're like the piece of gold for us in that space. So Tarrin, thank you very much for talking to us today about quality relationships. We really appreciate your input.
And thanks so much for allowing me this opportunity as well, Ray. You know, I love working here.
Yeah.
And it really is just a phenomenal place. And you guys help me grow each and every single day as well.
Yeah.
As much as the kids grow and develop, so do we.
Yeah. Bring it
That's
on,
what
man.
we
Bring it
love.
on. Bring
We
it
love.
on, right?
Yep.
Okay.
A good year ahead. Thanks,
you, Tanner.
Ray.